Founders, you are so good at investing in your startup's technology, team, marketing, and product development. But what about the most important asset in your startup? Yeah, that's you. You are the most important asset. How are you doing at carving out time to take care of you and invest in you? Our guest is a transformational speaker, author, and leadership coach, and she is going to recharge your batteries and give you the juice you need to succeed with her wise and oh so wonderful words. Stay tuned for the Startup Life live show. Let's glow, everyone. Hello and welcome to the Startup Life live show. I'm your host, Ande, Lyons, 4 times founder and startup champion to founders around the world. And after raising 4 businesses of my own, I got to tell you, I know firsthand what you all are crawling through every single day, that high level of uncertainty that you're navigating and the joys that you're feeling like, I solved that problem, yay. And the moments where you're like, it's a disaster. What was I thinking? Where can I go get a job? It's the whole roller coaster thrill of the entrepreneurship drive. And I got to tell you, wherever you are on your founder journey, I am so thrilled and grateful that you carved out time today, whenever you're watching or listening, to grab the gems from our delicious conversation today and level up your founder game. Because as you do better, your business will do better. Woohoo! So I just want to say a big hi, yoo-hoo, to the live viewers who are tuning in today, and a hearty welcome to the replay viewers and podcast listeners. You are going to love this conversation that we're going to have today. Oh my gosh. Now, if you are tuning in from YouTube, you know what to do. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button and click on that bell icon. And to receive an alert whenever I post a new show, please join the Startup Life Live meetup group. Here's why. You're going to get a deep dive into who our guest is, and you'll be able to see right away if there's going to be some gems that are ideal for you and your business. So hop on over there and join us. So I have a few Andelicious announcements to share with you today because it's all about helping you and your business thrive. Now, you know, every show I'm talking about Arlen's Academy. She's always putting up new information for you founders. Unbelievable. And it's FREE free. So get over there and grab some more gems for your startup world. And then if you need help crunching the numbers, I'm talking valuation and putting together the financials for your pitch deck for your business, you got to go check out the Startup Station. Victoria and her team there are always helping founders get funded faster because they help them nail down the numbers. Now, here's a great impact. This is a social enterprise opportunity here. It is 4 months of a free, incredible cohort where they're working with social and impact companies and startups. So go check out the Propeller Impact Accelerator. I think the application deadline is in June sometime. I'll double check on that. And of course, here in Boston at our favorite entrepreneurship institute and college, Babson, the Women Innovating Now Win Lab is taking applications for their September through December program. So check them out. And you know, it's not a show here if I'm not promoting Scroobius. This is for you founders who want to create the best pitch opportunity, get connected with investors. At Scroobius, they help founders create a video pitch deck. And I got to tell you, it works. It's amazing. So I just want to say a quick hello, Monica. So happy to see you. And thank you for connecting recently. I just loved getting to know you and learning about you. That's so wonderful. And I also want to put it out there for folks. Founder Circle. Okay, let's just take a minute and talk about you and your role as a founder because it's so important that you get the word out. I know you have your head down and you're working as hard as can be on your business, but you know, you got to ask, right? You got to reach out and say, hello, I need some help. And this show gets seen by hundreds of replays, and the podcast is number 10 in the world for startups. All right. So come on, ask. What do you need help with? You need a connection, an introduction, some advice. You want to just share your wonderful startup. I have plenty of testimonials from guests and participants who have advanced their startup because of someone they met through the show. So please don't be shy. I'm just going to pull this up right here. Amplify your brand, share your business name, one-liner, and website URL in the comments, and we will showcase and celebrate you and your wonderful work in the world. I mean, seriously, we'll get out the clappers, all right, because it takes a lot of courage. And do not hesitate to pop some questions and comments in the feed, because Lolita and I are here to bring joy into your world today. So speaking of Lolita, I can't wait to introduce this amazing goddess to you, the oh so wonderful Lolita E. Walker. And during a successful corporate career of nearly 20 years, Lolita thrived as a senior leader who delivered excellence for Proctor Gamble brands such as Gillette, Braun, and Cover Girl. And in 2017, she leapt from the corporate space to entrepreneurship and founded her personal and professional coaching and consultancy, Walker & Walker Enterprises. Oh my gosh, this is going to be such a delicious conversation. Let's bring her into the room. Lolita!
Yay!
Big claps.
I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Ande. You just bring a smile to my face each and every time that I see you. Thank you.
And the beauty of you, Lolita, is that you're always putting out like these 10-minute pop-ups. You'll come in and you'll just, boom, recharge our juices, give us some great information that we need to succeed in wherever we are in life. And I love, love, love that about you. Where are you hailing from today?
Yes, I am coming to you live from Accokeek, Maryland, which, by the way, is in southern Prince George's County in Maryland. So I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I'm so grateful. And folks, I have to tell you, Lolita and I have a very wonderful common bond, right, Lolita? We both earned our MBA at the Simmons School of Management, right?
Yes. And back then it was the only all women's business school in the country. Okay. So we were amongst the elite getting trained up and graduated. And it was just so amazing. And I still love Simmons. So hopefully we get some Simmons alumni who are tapping in, Ande.
Tuning in. Absolutely. We're out there. And I have to tell you, folks, when you go and take any kind of education that's single gender, i.e. women only, it's very powerful, because a lot of times the male and female get caught up in semantics, and that doesn't happen. But also, given, the nature of women in life over centuries and eons, it's so important that we're able to connect and learn not to be competitive, but team, and women empowering women. It's so important. So I love that. Hey, Monica. So Monica is saying, appreciate you and the shout out. My pleasure to have connected. I need help with connecting with amazing female tech investors. Well, you've come to the right place. I can, ping me, send me an email. I can connect you to so many. And I have some incredible resources for you. So shoot me an email, Ande@AndeLyons.com. So Lolita, I always like to start off with what I call, the origin story, why someone leaves guaranteed payroll, paycheck behind, and jumps into the ship of entrepreneurship. But you were working in corporate America, corporate life, when 3 little words caused you to leap into a bold new vocation for your oh so fine self. What were those 3 words, and why did they compel you to launch a business and become an entrepreneur?
Oh my gosh, those 3 little words, which are so powerful, they changed my life, was no thank you. Literally, no thank you. And I'll tell you that I didn't even know at that point that I was going into entrepreneurship. So my story is a little different from some of the other entrepreneurs that you may have had on this show, because I didn't recognize it. Actually, there was no one in my family, Ande, who was an entrepreneur. So I didn't even have that perspective. And quite frankly, I was so green that I was working so hard and putting so much into my corporate life, literally, plus my outside, of course, leadership roles that I had. But I didn't even realize that people were there and had businesses. And still, I didn't even know it was a thing, because entrepreneurship was so far away from my mind.
Absolutely.
So actually, what I thought, Ande, is that I was going to take a 6-month retirement break. enjoy that,
Yeah,
and then go back to
sabbatical.
corporate.
Yeah, exactly. And then there you were. What happened? Did
Yeah, what happened was I felt this relief off of my shoulders. It was like a
Mm.
release, and I didn't even know that I had all this pressure on me. And I started to really enjoy the freedom. And what happened was people started to come to me because I was undergoing so much change and navigating change, what looked like seamless on the outside. And it was a time in 2017 where folks were losing their jobs and they were being let go. We had a tough economy at the time,
Yeah.
if you would remember back. And people started coming to me to ask me, how could I help them navigate change? So I created a program, and then I started asking people, what are my strengths? That is how I leaned in to recognize that coaching is something I've always done. Why not get certified in it to really help people
How,
enhance where they
that's
stand
so
right now?
important. Let me just take that in because you were willing to ask folks for feedback. Not all of us are willing to do that. And what they and say that again. What was it that you asked? Because there, I'm sure someone folks listening or viewing this down the road that are going, oh, I need to do that. What was it?
Oh, absolutely. And I see that Robin is here. Hey, Ruth, and so many folks. And if you follow me anywhere, then I've asked these questions. What is one strength that you know I have without a shadow of a doubt? That's one way you can ask it. Another way you can ask it is, hey, what do you think? What's one thing that I'm really good at? And why? You got to get the why and how you showed up in it, because that is what is going to propel you to your next level.
Also, as women, and we know this, right,
Mhm.
Lolita, we're good at a lot of things. But what is it that lights you up? That is what needs to, because you can be, oh, I could do that. I could do that. I could do that in my sleep. But does it light you up? Does it bring the joy? So when that person asked you that question and you realized that you were coaching folks all the time, giving advice and helping enhance their world, how did you make that switch into, well, how can I do this as a business?
Oh, so good. So what I did was I started taking people through these 5 steps to navigate change. And I'm an engineer by trade. So for me, a process is really important. It was all about the operations of it all. What's the process? How are we going to improve? And what's the tangible results on the outskirts? So as I started doing that and really leaning in, I said, wow, so many people are coming to me. This really is a business. I really should look at this for entrepreneurship. And as you know, when you leap into entrepreneurship, there's a million programs that you can take that's going to help you be the best entrepreneur that you absolutely can. So, really sitting back, sitting in my strengths and saying, you know what, today is the day. So, I contacted a group that will put together all of your business, like get all your paperwork together, got me an EIN number, came up Walker and Walker Enterprises, really closed my eyes and took some time to think about what I wanted to do in the world and the impact, how broad I wanted to be. And that was, I want to have an enterprise. I am at the helm of a movement. Therefore, everything that comes under is really driven for the same intention to drive clarity, confidence, and commitment.
There we go. There we go. All right. So it's true. Robin, how about that? No, thank you. Everybody's saying just say no. Well, you know, Lolita gave it a little nice politeness. No, thank you. And I'm sure there's a great story behind that as well. And Abraham, oh, Lolita, one of my favorite founders, Abraham Ventura, his story is amazing. And he's doing remarkable work with his company, the Pitch Gauge app, that is downloaded by thousands, like almost probably hundreds of thousands every month. And his story is so inspirational. And and Montego, yeah, how did you respond to what do you do when you wear so many hats? Life will tell you because you'll pull on a thread, right, Lolita? And you'll start going, okay, yes, I can do this, but is it really like, so what is it that lights you up so much about how you are serving the world? And I know it's evolved over the last few years since you launched in 2017, but what is that recurring thing that just gets your face aglow and heart aglow?
Yeah, that thing for me is really at the foundation of who it is that I am. What I do is I help busy women, right? I empower busy women to really grab the greatness out of them, reframe it, and then help them leap beyond where they are today. I really dig deep inside. And one of my superpowers is to be able to speak spoken word gospel to your soul. remind you of your greatness, then help you leap. I help you hold fast to that accountability. Remember, I talked to you about clarity plus confidence equals commitment, according to the 3C equation for success, according to Lolita E. Walker. But I also work with some of your favorite organizations who bring me in to do just that with their leadership teams and then their smaller teams in the organization. What I recognize is with these two power groups, I'm really leveraging exactly what I bring to the table, right? I'm leveraging not only my skill set as an engineer, but also my time in corporate when I sat on these leadership teams, these senior leadership teams, and really took a look around the players and how we make decisions. Well, here's the thing. If we are not clear on our vision, if our people are not clear on how they fit into the organization, how exactly are we moving as a collective? So I help do that. And then I work with power women, just like some of the ones that are listening in right now with coaching one-on-one.
Yeah. And
coaching.
folks, this is so important. You've got to go check out. You see Lolita's information right here going by. All her links are in the show notes. You must connect with her. And here's why. Amy Wambach just gave a phenomenal speech at a commencement. And she talked about being other when you sit down at the table. And women, we are still other. And of course, people of color are still other. LGBTQ plus members are still other. Disabled are still other. So when you sit down at the table, you got to be ready. And someone like you, Lolita, helps people be able to speak their truth in a way that doesn't come from anger and frustration. And oh my God, I just want to strangle you, person across the aisle. Because, you know, did I say Abby Wambach? Abby talked about how when she was sitting down there talking about women in sports, and who took over the conversation? The NFL quarterback, a guy, talking about women in sports and what we needed to do. And she's like, wait a minute. And she's there with, you know, Venus Williams, I think at the time, like Serena maybe. But anyway, and so this is why women, we need a coach like Lolita in our lives, because we've been indoctrinated in a certain way. So we need to step up to the table and do a better job and really bring our fullness with, you know, with compassionate discord. So anyway, so I want to say hello to one of our favorites. Hello, Anna Foster.
Hey, Anna. So good to see you.
So Anna, I want to do a shout out, okay, right here. Folks, this Thursday, go sign up for the Future of Women in Color virtual series, part 3, Advancing Health Equity for Women of Color. Anna Foster always delivers with her programs through, let me just get rid of the banner here so we can get all the scoops, but the comment, it's coming. So you can go over to mavensworld.com or just right here on LinkedIn and grab some of this. It's it's free. You will love it. I just had to put it up there, Anna, because you are changing women's lives every day. So quick shout out to our goddess there.
Yes, she is amazing and doing powerful things in Boston and beyond. I mean, she's doing amazing things throughout the world. Thank you, Anna, for all of your work.
And, you know, like you, Lolita, she gets into corporate America, and that's where you can make some incredible change for folks. But back to you and your business, because I always like to, you know, use this as a teaching moment for founders who are tuning in. And I know there are founders who have a service-based business. Yeah. And so in the beginning, you had to figure out a lot of things for your business, Lolita, that were so important. You know, first of all, you know, how to price, how to acquire clients, you know, what would be your unfair advantage? You know, you gave us your 3 C's, which I love, and you bring your own delicious vibe. But how did you figure those things out initially?
You know, asking. And I think part of the thing is that we have been power women inside of these corporations where we were. We delivered. We've been there for years. People know who I am. You ask about Lolita E. Walker. I've already proven with performance how I'm going to show up. So people already know. I already have a team that's able to deliver. So remember all of those things. But when you leap into entrepreneurship, it's starting over. And sometimes we have to take our own seat back and check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. Sometimes we have to talk to the inner us and say, hey, guess what? You didn't get here by yourself, and you need to ask for help. So leveraging the power of your ask. Before you ask, really listening intently. So going into the spaces and places where your audience is, really tapping into what do I need to learn more? Where are the gaps that I think I have? And showing up in those spaces so that you can learn. asking questions, delivering on what your client wants, not necessarily what you want to give. And I'll tell you that one of the mistakes I made when I first started in corporate was that I was creating programs that I felt that my clients needed. And while it worked for them, when I really sat and I listened and I assessed and I recreated based on what it is that they needed, oh my gosh, what a difference it would make. So that's one tip I would have for our new entrepreneurs.
Well, you know what I'm having right. This is the hardest thing for founders to do is to like really put themselves in the shoes of their customers. But my gosh, you will soar the minute you take that risk wherever they are. Thank you for sharing that deep clarity on how and why that's so important. And what did your customers teach you? So, you started 2017, you're cooking along 2018, 2019. What did they teach you along the way that you went, oh, this is great. I can bring this to more clients going forward?
Yeah, it was through listening to them that I came up with the 3C equation for success.
Yeah.
It was through listening to the folks that were steadily coming to me, and what they were saying is, Lolita, I really need help driving where it was I want to go. Like, I know I'm awesome, but I really don't feel it right now. I kind of feel stuck. Where do I go? Hey, Lolita, that was one. Hey, Lolita, you know what? There seems to be these barriers. I just can't get over it. I can't get to the level where I need to go, but I know it's something that people aren't seeing in me. What do I need to do differently? Right. And really what it boils down to is listening to what they're really asking you for, and then tailoring your programming, your talks, your workshops around exactly what the need is. So one question that I learned to ask after I failed a couple of times was this: what are 3 things that you are looking for your audience to walk away with? 3 things. What do you want your audience to walk away with? And sometimes the folks hiring you are like, yeah, let's think about that. Because all you need to do is tell me what you want them to walk away with, and then let me bring the magic to you.
Oh my gosh. All right. Whew. I agree. Hey, Brent, how are you doing? Brent's from Ottawa. He's our wonderful, diverse. He's always promoting not just diversity, but neurodivergence. Okay.
Excellent.
We don't all think the same, folks. And it doesn't mean that we can't still add value, et cetera. So I'm always happy to see you, Brent. Thank you so much for tuning in. So Lolita, you made a beautiful transition into speaking. I mean, I am sure just listening to you that you were speaking anyway in wherever you were, but how did that transition go? Because, it's just another way to get your deliciousness out in the world. How did you step into your authority as a speaker?
Oh, so good. What's interesting is that corporate teaches you so many things. And I had the privilege of working for Proctor Gamble. And one of the really, really juicy aspects of Proctor Gamble is training. Right. And then you have opportunity to showcase your deliverables through presentations, through working with your team, through leadership, through all of these things. And so I believe that you show up at work every day speaking. And if we really think about it, we are giving our message and helping someone else to really buy in to what it is that we're talking about. We need some buy-in and some alignment. So you've always been selling. You've always been helping people with your message. You've always been bringing people in. So when I thought about that, right, I've always been given a message. In Procter & Gamble, I love the idea of 3. And I was there for almost 20 years. And so these things get ingrained upon you, and you start, now you're out, you think some of the same key principles, but then you think expansively. So I'm always going with the number 3. Remember, I just told you, what are 3 things you want your customer to walk away with? What are 3 things I want to deliver in this message to you today? So that's helping to drive the clarity, right? And then I'm increasing confidence, because that is what my clientele said. Like, part of that is really increasing the confidence of who it is that you are. Not only when you look in the mirror, but when you start speaking on behalf of yourself, which sometimes doesn't feel so good. And sometimes, all these limiting beliefs start to come in your head. So now it's delivering it. It's knowing it. It's trusting it. It's believing it, because I've been through it, because I've experienced it. And not only that, when you start talking about the transformation that's on the other side of this thing, it gives you this increased awesomeness, right?
Absolutely. And so, did you, I mean, you've been speaking in corporate and all that, but now you're going on the stage and you have a wonderful TEDx talk. What was that like? Finding that inside of you, and how would you encourage other founders to make that transition?
Yes, so good. So I believe so the thing about TEDx is that they are not looking for the most powerful speaker in the whole wide world. Actually, they're not. They're actually looking for what is your idea that is worth spreading? What idea do you have within you that is worth spreading to the world? And you have an idea, we each do. So I literally just did a live inside of my own Facebook group, Coaching Cocktails and Conversations, about how to get on this TEDx stage, right? Thinking about this idea, narrowing it down into 12 to 15 key words, and recognizing that a coach is so important to help you to deliver and pull your message out. One thing I'll say about my TEDx talk, my core idea that was worth spreading, where I narrowed it down to, is that a momentary interruption in your life can shift you to be your most revolutionary self. But I didn't start there. I started by talking about this powerful pause and feeling the pause in it. I started with this notion of embrace, act, and thrive. I started with all these ideas. And what the coach did was hear me and said, you know what, inside of what you just said momentary interruption. Tell me a little bit about that. That's how we got to that. And as I started telling her and explaining it, and you're feeling all of this passion in it, she said, this is what you said. So what does she do? Exactly what I talked about. She listened intently. She reframed what it was that I said, and she delivered it back to me as such. I was like, oh, that is good.
That is so good. This is why you hire a coach,
Yes.
folks. You cannot do that for yourself.
Right.
Not only that, the information that bubbles up as you are continuing to talk with your coach allows it to come out, and all of a sudden they go, spotlight, amplify.
Spotlight.
Yeah, that is so important. I love it. And let's talk a little bit about the pause, because throughout the conversation today, we're talking about how you founders need to invest, must invest in your most important asset, and that's you. Okay. And so, what Lolita does really well is help folks embrace the pause. And we know that as founders, we get so hyper focused. If someone isn't part of the solution, get out of the way. There's just so much going on. We forget to do pause. In fact, we're almost afraid to do pause. And sometimes the hamster wheel gets going so fast. It's like, I'd love to pause, but I don't know how to stop this wheel. So, Lolita, talk a little bit about that.
I was one of the ones, I must admit, I'm a fellow non-pauser, and I'm a fellow non-pauser. I'm holding hands with everyone there who rarely pauses, because we're so ingrained to go, 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 especially, by the way, as power women who are leading these organizations within these corporate spaces. And because you're wired to go and deliver results at all times, we believe that we are needed at every step of the process. Newsflash, no, you're not. No, you're not. And the power of that is delegating and disappearing, the dad principle, according to my father, as I was growing up. So, sometimes this
Wait a
pause,
minute. I just got to take that in. Delegate and disappear.
yes, the dad principle.
Let it go, everybody. Let it go. Oh my
80 for the 20,
gosh.
move out of the way. What's important, getting it done or you getting it done? Move on out the way.
Oh,
You
wait a
cannot
minute. Wait
scale.
a minute. That is the perfect. Stitch that on a pillow. Hold on. What's more important? Say it again for those in the back.
I said, what is more important, getting it done or you getting it done? Come on now, get it right. Get your mindset right. You have to think expansively. You have to think in the future, because you cannot scale your business or anything that you are doing with you doing all the work all the time. So sometimes we have to give it up a little bit, and we might find that some other people actually could do it a little bit better than us.
Yeah, happily. I mean,
Yes.
they've always called me Andrea, Andrea Carnegie Lyons, because my idea was always you. Amazing, you fabulous. Let me just work on my nails here. There's so many great people you can bring in who can add, and also you're giving them that opportunity to deliver, to give, and you're able to, as women, practice the art of receiving their incredible gifts that you have allowed them to bring. I just love that. Something fierce. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Delegate for the win.
Yes, delegate for the win.
Thank
But
you
I
much.
was forced to pause. I'll tell you, it's circumstances, life forced me to pause. Remember that mini retirement I told you that I was taking? Well,
Yeah.
in the midst of my mini retirement, I had so much change coming at me at once. I had just finished with a divorce. I just gotten a divorce. My son was young. I became a single mom. My dad had recently passed away. It was just so much happening at once. And it's no different than a lot of folks who are out here today, a lot of folks that we talk to. But in the midst of that, I literally remember being in my son's room one day after I dropped him off, and I fell to the ground on all fours in a fetal position, and I cried like no tomorrow. I realized for some reason in that moment that I didn't have a paycheck coming in. In that moment, right then, I realized, oh my gosh, there is no paycheck coming in. And I also recognized that I didn't know how I was going to pay my mortgage. So I remember saying to myself, my rent for this property I was in, I remember saying to myself, thank you. So in the midst of all of these tears, thank you for this roof that is over my head. I don't know how I'm going to pay for it, but thank you so much for these tears. And I know I kept going, but it was in a gratefulness, the gratitude that I felt what I call this blanket of calm, literally real story. I've never felt it again. But in that moment, I wrote what I call my Be Free Creed. And I say it every day. It's in my first book. And it was through literally, I wrote my first book, The Intersection of You and Change, which is 17 stops to self-discovery. And I took myself through each of those stops of self-discovery and did the soul work. And I will tell you that if it wasn't for that deep change, that forced pause, that forced momentary interruption that God placed on me, I don't know if I would be the same person that I am today. It is through all of that of why I stand here today.
There's a lot of grace in gratitude, right? By being able to express gratitude of the simplest things. My husband Chad and I love to do that over coffee in the morning. What are you feeling grateful for? Even if it's as you were saying, everything, the rug's been pulled out from under you, things are tanking, there's something, the taste of that coffee, right? Yeah. You can always find that gratitude. Thank you so much for sharing that, because the pause is powerful, folks. And you have to continue to reflect on who you be in the world, and your role continues to change. You launch your business and you start to grow it, you're growing and you're changing and you're shifting, and your business is going to require certain things from you that you have never tapped into before. So I'm going to just throw it out again. Hire a great coach. Hey, Coach Walker. Hey, Lolita. Coach Walker. Hey, Coach Walker. Someone who is going to help you continue to reframe yourself.
Absolutely.
So that you don't get stuck. So I just love every word of wisdom you said. And I also want to bring up the graphic for your books, because let's talk about this. There's, the intersection of you and change. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about that and why you were called to write that book. I mean, I know it came to you during that moment, that pause, but then you had to create it, birth it, and sell it.
Yes. It came to me because I was undergoing so much change, and I didn't know the title until the very, very, very end. The very end.
What does it mean?
The intersection. Oh, yes. Yeah. Such a good question. Is that we each find ourselves at an intersection in our life where we choose, are we going to go left? Are we going to go right? Are we going to stay complacent where we are? Are we going to go back because we already know how to get to where we're standing? Or are we going to leap to the unknown? So if you look at the book cover, it meshes trees. It meshes a journey. You see, you're standing literally right there at that intersection. Which way are you going to choose to go? It's a choice, right? There's the unknown. It could be slippery. It could be nothing at the end of it. And all of that came after I literally started writing. So my journey to write that book was literally writing and journaling. And I recognized, like, hey, I'm taking myself through these exercises and I'm thinking differently. And whether it's Forgiveness Freeway or Journey Junction or Clarity Cul-de-sac, right? Or Be Free Boulevard, all of these things. Change. It's all talking about navigating this change. And some of the things that came out of me, I didn't even know were inside of me. Like Transition Turnpike. I talk about how my mom, after my dad passed, my mom had found a new mate. And she had already moved on to her new beginnings, but I was still stuck at the end because I wasn't ready. I wasn't there. And it's okay to be there, but I hadn't already transitioned through this transition turnpike. And I talk about that process. Now, I never give you the answer to how I solved it because it's not about me. Instead, I give you soul work so you can decide on your transition turnpike, where are you going?
And I have to tell you, our startups are the best soul work you're ever going to do, practically, because they are going to pull out of you. You're going to be in desperate times. You're going to be, as I'm always saying, 1 minute you're popping the champagne and the next minute you're crying into it. But that's so important, folks. You know how to find Lolita. Get her book. That the intersection of change, you and change. Yeah.
Yes. And
That
my second book, Can We Talk? Quite frankly, I'll tell you, life is so unbelievable. I leaned into this, you all. This is called Can We Talk? Letters and Poems to Reclaim a Bolder You. And there are literally 44, that's how old I am, letters and poems. It is things like Dear Sadness, Dear Purpose, Dear Champion, Dear Power Woman, Dear Black Woman, Dear Black Boy, Dear Angry Black Girl, right? Dear Heartbreak, Dear Divorce, Dear Younger Me, Dear Yesterday. All of these things, because sometimes we find ourselves stuck in yesterday. And here's the thing, you can talk to your dear yesterday. What are you saying?
Yeah, exactly. And how are you positioning yesterday? Are you doing it with compassion and kindness for that person and what they went through? Or are you still shaming and blaming them?
Ooh, so good.
So,
Yeah.
these are the growth opportunities that happen that are so important. And you're thinking, look, I got to get money in the door. I got to make payroll. I've got to raise funds. I've got to get this new product. It doesn't matter. If you're not taking care of you and investing in you, your business will suffer because
Yes.
you cannot get burnt out. You need to be bringing your fully expressed self to the world through your business and to other partners in your life that are
Mhm.
sharing your life with you. And we can get so tunnel vision as founders. I love Can We Talk? When did that come out?
Oh, this year,
Oh,
2022.
oh,
Can we
thank
talk?
you. Thank you
Mhm.
so much. And speaking of Can We Talk, I want to talk a little bit about this soul retreat that you've got, or listen to me, soul retreat. I mean,
Yes, we'll do some soul work. Yes, reclaim a
we
bolder you. And it is 4 days, all-inclusive experience for power women. Only 16 of you will be there because I love for it to be intimate. This will be my 10th retreat. Can you believe it? The number 10. So it is a milestone. You show up and I take care of the rest. You show up and I take care of the rest. We will have a chef that is there. We will have power experts that I've hired to be there. We will have me leaning in. When you leave this retreat, it's so good. I look forward to it. When you leave this retreat, not only will you have a vision board, forget what you think you know about a vision board, but you will have an action plan. You will have accountability. You'll have a partner. We will lean all the way in. You'll be thinking different. And let me tell you this true story. It's so much of an expansiveness that I had a husband to say to me, when are you going to do it for men so we know how to really love on the women when they come back and support them in a way that they will be able to succeed with us right there holding them because you expand your mind so much. Isn't that amazing?
Oh, that is so amazing. Oh my gosh. And even for folks that are already thinking, well, I'm bold enough. There's something on the table for you there that you can reach in.
Powerful.
Oh, let's read this.
Oh, Robin. Lolita is my coach, and I highly recommend her if you need clarity, confidence, guidance, or just want to invest in you. She is the one. Oh, thank you. It's so powerful when
Oh,
your clients are able to talk on your behalf because they've seen so many amazing benefits. Thank you so much, Robin.
Robin, thank you for showing up for Lolita that way. Really, it's so powerful. Testimonials are so powerful, folks. Always give them, do Google reviews,
Yes.
add win to someone's sales whenever possible. I love this retreat for so many reasons because it doesn't matter where you are in life. You're going to be in with a group of people that you were meant to be with. There are going to be people there that are going to mirror some stuff that you're like, oh, what? And there's going to be opportunity for you to dissolve chokeholds in your life, and you need a facilitator to do that, and you need time away to
Yes.
do that. When you do a retreat, I'm sure it's like what, 12 hours? I mean, you are going deep for those 4
We
days,
we
right?
we go all the way in. And here's the thing, personal growth yields professional success. And sometimes people forget that to show up as your whole you at work, at any work, for your family, for life, for home, but for work specifically, you have got to tap in. You got to give you time. You got to pause, allow yourself to step back. And exactly what Ande says is that you have got to give yourself permission, literally, to pause and get poured into. We talk finance, we talk leadership, we talk all of the pieces that make you whole. And according to Lolita E. Walker, there's 11 aspects to self, and we dig into them.
11 aspects to self. I love that. 11's a
Ooh, well, that
powerful
sounds like a
number.
book, right?
Um,
Ooh.
right?
Oh, that sounds very good. That's the thing. I say I had it here, right here with Ande Lyons.
That's right.
Oh,
Well,
that's
the
good.
founder journey is very powerful, folks. And when you're taking time to invest in yourself, it's so powerful, like Lolita just said. But also, Lolita, what are other ways, if going to the retreat, what are other ways that founders, and especially the busy women or women holding down some pretty big jobs while still trying to have meaningful relationships outside of work, what are some of the ways that you've seen that have really helped them have that? Because, folks, there is no such thing as balance, but there is a way to have a rich and fulfilling life.
Yes.
Talk about that.
I'll give you a couple things that I love to chat with people about. The first is schedule you in. First and foremost, get into your calendar, schedule you in with at least 3 notifications. Schedule you in the same way you do your meetings. You are a meeting, and I call mine self. They're purple buckets of time. Schedule you in, and that's so important to do the things. The second is understand where's your most be free space. So when I say be free, let me define that for you. It is the space that you can go where you can close your eyes and literally release. All of the weight that's on your shoulders will be released. For me, it's around water and trees. How can I get a piece of my most be free space in my day? For me, what is it about the water and trees that grab me? It is the sounds. So me, I turn on Pandora. I'd like to hear spa radio on Pandora. And it gets me back into a place where I can be my most productive and my most creative. So that's number 2. And the third piece that I think that people can really do is lean into your strengths. If you don't know them, take some time and really power through what you bring to the table. You need to know at least 3 of them. If you don't know 3 of your strengths and how you've demonstrated them already, ask somebody. There's no shame in your game. Ask somebody. Founders have to be able to ask questions. And how amazing is it to start with asking what you bring to the table, how you stand out, and why?
Right. Oh, stop. I mean, yes, keep going. Don't stop, keep going. Take all of this in, those such great pieces of advice, the scheduling yourself in, but also what does that look like? Some people it's meditation, even for 5 minutes, just sitting there breathing is wonderful. Some it's going for a walk in nature. Some it's cooking. So, whatever that is for you that helps you tap into you. Don't look at how someone else is doing it. Do it the way you need it
Yes.
for you. It's just what you just bring home for everybody. And again, focusing on your strengths and letting the rest go. Do the dad principle. Delegate and disappear because that's not your strength.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
Even if it is, guess what? You have other priorities that you want to concentrate yourself on. So allow other people, to your point, Ande, to take the reins. It's important to get it done, not that you have to get it done.
that's right. And cheer them on as they're doing it for you. Yay. And you'll be surprised because there's this wonderful quote out there. Coach me and I will learn. Teach me and I'll learn. Coach and I will grow. But believe in me and I will
Ooh,
win.
come
So,
on.
so it's that belief. It's a belief in yourself,
Yeah,
but having someone in your intimate circle here that believes in your amazing, extraordinary, and sometimes completely untapped brilliance and bringing it to the world. I just love your work, Lolita.
me
Tell
too.
people about how you'll pop out there for 10 minutes a day. Talk about how you connect with folks because it's just extraordinary.
Oh, yes, I do 10-minute power powwows wherever you are. I do it on LinkedIn. So let's connect. I also go live on my YouTube channel, search Lolita E. Walker. And the last piece is Facebook in my coaching cocktails and conversations private group. And if you're in that group, the juiciness of that is that I come on a little bit after and then just really have a juicy conversation with the folks that have chosen to be right there. But tap into me on lolitawalker.com. That's Lolita walker.com. Actually, it's going right across the bottom. I have some awesome soul work that's within my podcast episodes as well. So I appreciate you, Ande.
Oh my
I
gosh.
appreciate you.
Seriously, folks, like you need that shot of inspiration. Whatever you're facing, there is Lolita popping up and going, hey, think about this, or hey, have you tried this? Or, asking. And, that being curious, you're curious every day about your business, right? Trying to solve problems and come up with the right solutions and pulling on threads. Nope, that's not going to work. Nope, that's not going to work. That curiosity keeps you as
Yeah.
an observer on your business. Same thing with yourself, because you're an evolving creature until you take that last breath.
Amen.
Shift can happen. It's so powerful. So, Lolita, I just want to bring this wonderful retreat back up again, because this is, again, so powerful. Anybody, if you've ever gone away for 4 days, you do a full immersion like this, transformation is guaranteed. It happens. You can't get away. You cannot hide. It's not 55 minutes, with the therapist. It is doing the deep dive into the soul work. So, Lolita, as a founder on this journey, there are moments when you have felt, I am like, what, hashtag why bother? I am so not worthy. I am inadequate.
Yes.
The shame talk that we can have going
Yeah.
on in our little self there. How
Yeah.
have you shifted your
Yeah.
mindset so that you can come back and bring more of yourself?
Oh my gosh. Yes, I have been there with tears. I have been there with questioning me. I have been there when I had to shake myself out of the complacency to which I stood, or the pity, or the shame, or the all of the things. And what I do, listen, remember when I told you that not only do you know your strengths, but you know how you showed up in them. The
Yeah.
reason that that's so important that you have evidence of that is because what I do and what I'm encouraging you all to do is remember that I'm standing right here. I thank God for the good and the bad. I know my core values, but I also know how I've shown up in my strengths. So now when my limiting beliefs want to tell me, oh my gosh, you do not need to charge that much. Who are you to think you can charge that much? Who are you to think that you can write a second book and people are going to buy that? Well, I say, well, one of my core strengths is that I'm able to power with my words, and I shift people. And I know that because I've been told that. I know that because I can read that. I know that because I feel that and I've watched the transformation in front of me. Well, if you know that, Lolita, who are you to tell yourself that you can't do it again? You're standing right here and you have a book that is in people's hands that has shifted them. I can give you evidence. I can tell myself. So, Ande, what I do is I remind myself of those strengths that we talked about earlier. Not only the strengths, but how I've shown up in them. That is what powers me through.
Oh my
I'm also
gosh.
grounded on faith, right? My faith
Yes.
and my strengths have wings to protect my fall, and yours too.
Oh my gosh. This is what I meant, folks. Entrepreneurship Church right here with Lolita E. Walker. And we need this. Thank you for sharing how you shift out, because this, folks, and I know you're on a skinny budget. My audience is newbie founders,
Yes,
okay? First time, out there, the lean startups, trying to raise some capital, trying to make it all work on a very lean budget.
yes.
You find the money, folks, and the funds. They'll come in and make the investment for yourself. Do not do this journey alone.
No,
That
don't
is
do
my.
it.
Can you share a few transformation stories that you just loved watching happen?
Oh, yes,
Protecting
yes,
the
yes.
names, keep the names
Oh,
innocent and
sure,
all
sure,
that.
sure.
But
I'll tell you, I like 3, so I'll keep them really short so I could tell you 3. I'm gonna think about them right here on the spot. One just happened a couple of weeks ago, and what's so good is that this was a freshman in a high school.
oh,
So one,
okay.
and this was transformation for me and transformation for her. When I have a friend, Stacy, who my book, the Can We Talk? She read Dear Anxiousness, okay? And in this, when she read Dear Anxiousness, she called me. She said, Lolita, this is my favorite poem. Let me tell you why. And as she started talking about it, I had to look back. I said, did you get all that from my poem I wrote? Let me just see. And she had really dissected it so much and how it affected her, because she struggles with and she's fine with me saying it, we talked about it all the time, but she struggled with anxiety, right? She has anxiety. Well, the point of this story is that she said this has got to be in schools, Lolita, in high schools. At least it should be at the collegiate level, but definitely in high schools and maybe even some middle schools. It's got to be there. I'm like, you think so? But here it is. I didn't even think like that because I'm not an educator. It wasn't even at the forefront of my mind. So after she said that, someone heard us talking about it, because you got to live your dreams out loud, tell people what it is you're doing. A teacher wrote to me and said, hey, I'm putting you in connection with an English teacher, went to their school. And guess what? A woman, right, a young lady right in front of me, you could see the ahas when she did the strength exercise, and I did it in depth right there. Another young lady, young scholar, you know what the teacher had them do? What pieces of the poem Dear Anxiousness spoke to you, and put it on a poster? Oh my gosh. It put me in tears. I've posted it on in my LinkedIn. You could take a look at it.
I have goosebumps all over my body. Oh my gosh.
One of them literally looks like a book cover. And I said to her, I said, Brittany, how do you feel about being an illustrator for one of my books? Because what you didn't know is that 22 of these will be short, small books for children. That's what you didn't know. And she literally wrote and said, guess what? Me and my parents, we want to talk to you.
Oh.
Absolutely. And I will make that possible.
Oh,
amazing. So I won't tell you 3, because that's like 3 right there.
That's 3 right there. Well, and also Monica has a great question for you. And folks, you know, Lolita's always there and available. LinkedIn, Facebook, you can find her. But she's saying, Lolita, when you are the energy generator for your group and others, we all know about that, right? How do you heal and recharge when you need help?
So good. You know, earlier we talked about time blocking and really finding that room for self. I'll tell you one time. So this is my 10th retreat. And I think it was probably the second or the third one. And I always have a licensed therapist that's there as well, because so much comes up. Dr. Sophia Rahman, live by her. And she, this session that I did with this soul work was so intense. There was 12 women there. It was so intense. And I didn't realize how much I was giving. And afterwards, my body just started feeling funny. I just said, I've got to lay down. And I remember I was down for like 4 hours. And Dr. Sophia came in and she said, listen, this is an example of you generating so much of your energy for others. So now what I do, to answer your question, is I schedule me in. That's why I can say that so definitively. Whether it's my retreat and I schedule me in, which is why I have I hire other people to come as facilitators as well for pieces of the day, so that I can rejuvenate and take a bit away. Right? I told you about my Be Free space. I'm intentional on how I draw that into my day. Absolutely. And I take power naps. but I also schedule vacations, right? Because you are your own builder, you can choose you. And I know we think that we can't take off. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You need to enjoy life too. Tomorrow is not promised.
It is absolutely not promised. And this is May 24th, 2022. And we see, you know, the economy taking a hit, especially the investor dollars. The investors are pulling back. You may need to, I know you just went through the pandemic and you had to scale back. You may have to scale back a little, tighten a little more. It is okay. There's this mythology out there, right, Lolita, that you have to do this overnight, that you have to, you know, do it quick, hustle, hustle, hustle. I'm often talking about with my pal from Scroobius there, Allison Beyer, she's the founder there, reminding folks that, look, a company's going to move based on its growth cycle, but also if it's a parent, you've got to give them grace. They're raising children while they're building that business. So don't have the same expectations of their growth and scaling capability, because they are being, you know, kids will make sure you take time away from your business, right?
Absolutely.
If you're listening. But no, I love that. And I didn't even think about that. But of course, in a retreat, when you're giving out so much energy, and Monica, that's also for you in your group, you know, scheduling the time so that you can recharge and fill your tank and be able to give to others whatever that looks like. It could be petting your dog or cat, it could be hanging out, giving at some volunteer that option that just fills your heart with that. And hello. Oh, it's
Oh, hi, Lynn
who?
Luckett. Yes, she owns Alive, the Academy for Learning in Virtual Environments. And she is always a constant at my 10-minute power powwows. Thank you so much
Oh, yay. Yeah. And I'm going to bring
for
that up
coming.
too. Yay. Thank you for sharing that. And Robin, you've been so
Thank
helpful
you,
along the way,
Robin.
dear. Putting up those links. All of those will be in the show notes. Okay. So I'm always telling people, Lolita, you never lose in this entrepreneurship journey, no matter what happens. And I want folks to really take that in. If you have a dream, a desire, and you're launching it and you're so afraid you're going to quote lose, just trust me here, trust Lolita, you will not lose.
Yeah.
You always benefit from this journey. You may, take it. If it doesn't work out, it always works out, even if it crashes and burns. It serves you in such an important way. You'll take it to your next gig, your next startup,
Absolutely.
or you'll transfer those skills to your next gig working for someone else. Maybe you'll be an entrepreneur. Maybe you'll go back to doing something you were great at, but you're bringing all this great lived experience with you.
You win.
Yeah. So share with folks how entrepreneurship has served you both personally and professionally, because you left a really sweet corporate scene. And then because you said, no, thank you. And
Yes, no,
so
thank you.
how,
Entrepreneurship has served me in so many amazing ways. I love that you talked about the lessons and the transferable skills. It's interesting because I bring transferable skills like a lot of the folks listening in. When you leap into entrepreneurship, if you are an owner of a business, then you brought transferable skills with you. And I think sometimes we have to pause and remember all of the stuff that we did. If you were to really think about what's the value that I added to that company, what's all the things that I did, what's the budget that I managed, how many people did I manage and help to grow, what's the products that I helped to launch, what was my role inside of that? Imagine that. Imagine you coming to the table with all of those things. So remember, pause to remember what you bring to the table, and then the lessons that you've learned. Take inventory. Take monthly inventory. I have a small wins board in my house. Everybody writes up a small win for the day, period. You write up a small win for the day, and then at the end of the month, you read them aloud, because you need to know that you are doing powerful things every single day, even if they feel small.
oh my gosh, Lolita. Folks, I have a Pinterest board. So anytime someone leaves a comment, Andy this or Andy that, I just take that, because so often our brain is trained to see what isn't working. And
Yes.
so, having a place, the win board, there is a win that happened today for you.
Yeah.
It's there amongst whatever disasters are going on in your journey. Grab that win and go, yes, I'm a rock star. How
Yes.
can, first of all, just thank you for your wisdom. And I knew that this would just be so powerful. And I know that you will be serving founders or anyone who listens to this broadcast for years to come. How may we add win to your sales, and how and open doors for you? What hard thing are you working on that we could ease your journey?
Oh, I love it. I'll leave you with three because I'm always working on something. Okay. The first way that you can help me on my journey is if you know any schools. If you had tapped into any schools, whether they're high school or at the collegiate level, I would absolutely love to tap into them. Stacy is helping me make these amazing assessments that go with 22 of the letters and poems. And what we know is that when we dig deeper into ourselves, we increase our clarity, confidence, and commitment. That's number one. Make sure you send that email to change@lolitawalker.com, and we will get all the way into it and get us scheduled. The second way that you can really help out is, listen, if your organizations are undergoing change, if you need help with your leadership teams on how to drive increased clarity, confidence, and commitment, call me, right? Allow me to come in and help you shift your organizations, their mindset, and their renewed skip to action. Okay, that's number two. And then the third piece is, if you are a power woman that is sitting right here, right now, or you know one, and you are ready to leap out of the complacency of where you're sitting right now, to leap beyond where you stand today, then I want to hear from you, because you need to be at that retreat. You need to be at that retreat and consider that a jump start, right? A jump start, which is going to power you for 2023. Yes, we haven't ended 2022 yet, but this is when you plan. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. So we want to get ahead of it. And this September, I would absolutely love to see you. So those are 3 ways that you can absolutely tap in, and you can help to support me on this journey to empower. I stand at the helm of a movement. I told you guys that at the beginning. This is a movement.
Okay. So folks, this is what asking looks like. See how Lolita was prepared? She got this question ahead of time. All the, things I talk about, my guests get ahead of time. She came prepared in her tradition of 3 asks. This is what you can do as well. Go to every event that you possibly can and share yourself, connect with people. Online events are a great way to connect. And here's that email, change@lolitawalker.com. That email will also be in all the show notes everywhere. And alive. Okay, let's read this out. Lolita, you read this out
I
loud
love
because
it.
this is
When
so
I
beautiful.
Absolutely. When I first started my company, it was absolutely the scariest thing that I had ever done outside of having my 2 amazing sons. Having someone to remind me of my strengths and to assist me with reframing my limiting beliefs was vital. Lolita is an expert with reframing and restructuring language. Yes, yes. She was my saving grace. Thank you so much. It's this piece here. And this is another thing. Lolita is an expert with reframing and restructuring language. How powerful is that? Here's the thing, when people tell you, Ande, believe them. And then you can grab some of those. I mean, what about that? I am a reframer. I restructure language. Who would have thought of that? But that's how it's received. So yes, I own it. I'm taking that right there. Thanks, Stacey.
Thank you so, Stacey, you are a rock star. Thank you so much for coming by and sharing that and powerful testimonial, because that's who you want to hire. Someone's going to reframe the language in your head, because you could be going, rah, 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 rah. Well, let's reframe that. Let's talk about your strengths. Let's talk about a different way to do that, and also to dissolve those chokeholds that are keeping you from moving forward. Those things that just have you paralyzed because you've been indoctrinated a certain way. Can't do it alone. Lolita's here for you. Who wouldn't want to work with Lolita? I know I sound like one big ad, but I just know the number one thing founders always tell me is that when they hired their coach, right?
Change their life.
It changed their life. It changed the trajectory of their business, everything. So it works. Find the money, make it happen. Lolita, I am so grateful that you joined me on the show. I am just such a huge fan. Thank you so much. I'm going to pop you into the green room. Do you have any last words before I do that?
I do. I wanted to give you a cheers, Ande. I really do. Because it takes a special person who is rooted in their own clarity, their own confidence, and their own commitment to allow someone else on their stage and literally edify them the entire time. And I think that that's just a reminder to founders that sometimes you got to realize that this table is big enough for every single person to have a piece. And when you know that and you're grounded in that, then edification of another founder is part of the course. And it not only helps the other person, but it helps you, right? Who doesn't want to be on this show, Startup Life Live, right? It's so good. So it's edifying Ande as well. So I wanted to take the moment to give you a cheers, because it means so much to me. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. That added wind to my heart and my sails. Thank you so much for that, Lolita. Oh, I'm going to pop you into this room, bring myself up to solo screen. Oh my gosh, everyone. I said we'd go to Entrepreneurship Church. You can listen to this episode again and again, and you are going to find nuggets you didn't hear the first time. And be sure to buy all the books. I'm going to have the links for everything that we talked about today. The intersection of you and change, and can we talk? I mean, these are powerful, powerful written word that's going to help transform your life. And Lolita E. Walker is there to serve you. She is on a mission, and she is passionate about it. And she's passionate about the work she has been called to do. Okay, so switching topics. Guess what? Friday, May 27th, we're talking about the numbers, the data, right? And you guys, our data is always wonderful. We loved collecting it. There's so many beautiful and sexy ways we can collect that data, but how often do we turn that data into decisions for our business? So our guest, the also delightful Ahmed Al-Samed DC, he's the founder and CEO of Narrator.ai, an innovative platform allowing companies better and quicker access to the critically important data. But we're going to talk about what's important to you, which is how you take all that information, all those beautiful numbers presented so sexily and beautifully to you, and turn it into a decision that's going to help drive your business to success. So tune in. You know how to do that. You just join the Startup Live meetup group, or subscribe to the YouTube channel, or just follow me wherever I go, because I'm everywhere online. So I'm so grateful that you tuned in, and I'm just wishing you a delicious day everywhere we glow. And until next time, I believe in you. Mwah. Keep going. Cheers, everyone.